So what started off as simple turned into a bit of a deep dive. Today, we're starting with Emby. Did you ever start setting up a simple media server and suddenly you're knee-deep in comparing Emby, Plex, Jellyfin, wondering which one you actually, deserves your time? Which is the easiest to administer, what offers do they feature, what features do they offer, and which one is transparent with their business model? Well, in today's video, we're going to start looking at Emby. Hey folks, Zack here again. So we've done a few videos in the past on media streaming deployments, mainly Plex, a bit of Jellyfin here and there, but one of the things that I've been asked a lot about is to go over Emby. So today's video is going to be going over the features of Emby, the install process, how it compares to Plex, and my thoughts on it as a whole. Later, we'll be sizing it up against Jellyfin in a future video. So full disclosure, I currently use Plex and haven't spent a ton of time with Emby, but I'm no stranger to the changes Plex has made in the last year. I'm going to make this as impartial as possible. Now, what does Emby offer? So here's what you get with Emby out of the box. So centralized media management, no surprise there. So media, TV, music, audiobooks, and even photos. I haven't seen some stuff with gaming, but we'll get into that. So live TV and DVR support multi-user access with parental controls, remote streaming, so securely accessing your Emby server from anywhere really. Metadata editing and plugin support for things like tracked, open subtitles, and themes. Now, some of the more advanced features like hardware transcoding, mobile sync, and cloud backup, they're going to require Emby Premium. So that's either a one-time purchase or subscription, depending on what you want. Now, on the HL15 Beast that we're going to be using today, we're going to install this with Emby. It has Ubuntu 22 running on it, and it is something that makes an amazing media server because of all the storage that you have. You have 450 terabytes raw with hammer drives. And if you want to see more on those, my colleague Brett did more on the enterprise channel. Now, let's do the math on two realistic scenarios. So we have, let's say 20 gigs per movie for 4K. That gives you about 12,500 4K movies at about 20 gigs. If you're doing 50 gigs, so very high quality, that gives you about 9,000. Basically what I'm saying is you're not going to be running out of media space anytime soon. Now, on top of that, the HL15 Beast direct wired architecture means that as a one-to-one connection directly to the motherboard, you get the full performance from every single drive, and the only bottleneck you're really going to hit is your network/internet connections, not the server itself. And if you want to beef up transcoding, the HL15 Beast supports full-size GPUs, and the HL15 2.0, you can do up to a 4060, but you can do the 90 series on the Beast and larger. Now, of course, we're running Open ZFS, giving you enterprise-grade resiliency to keep your media files safe. That means protection against corruption, drive failures, and accidental mishaps. Your collection is safe for the long haul. Now, the Docker Compose setup we'll be doing is very simple. It is going to be pretty much edit a few things and bring the container up, and then you're good to go. So here's what we'll be going through, and here's what we'll be changing in that actual file itself. So our Docker Compose setup will be doing a simple Docker Compose file after we pull down the Emby image. And here's a quick rundown on what's in the Compose and what we'll be changing. So first thing, container name, which is Emby, our environment, so that is just using our PUID and our PGID, which is 1000, our time zone. So this is going to be for our logging purposes and timestamps, things like that. So we're going to set ours to Glace Bay. Our volume, so where our config is going to be stored, I set it to OPT/Emby. Our actual movies and TV shows, they're in a ZFS pool in two separate data sets called movies and TV shows. And then you have OPT/vcity/lib, which is optional for ARM systems. And then your ports, so 8096 to 8096, so internal to the Docker container and outside. Default HTTP, 8920 to 8920, so optional for HTTP/SSL. Our devices, so I only have one here, which is our dev/DRI, so Intel or AMD iGPU. You can also have options like dev VCHIQ for Raspberry Pis, /dev/video, so for encoders and transcoders, and then restart policy, so auto start on crash or reboot. So now once all that's filled out, we're going to go to our server IP, port 8096, and we'll walk through the initial setup. All right, so this is just a glance at our Docker Compose that we have set up that I was going through each of the features on, or each of the options, I should say. And once we have that, we'll actually do Docker Compose up -D. And we can see that it's up and running here. Usually, first time running it, take maybe about a minute or so, depending on your internet connection, because it does have to pull down that container. But with that said, let's actually go into our instance that we have set up here, and let's just make sure that it's healthy first, actually. Looks good, and we'll go to port 8096. So let's refresh this, and we'll get our welcome Emby. So let's go English, next, username, get myself, and our password. And then comes to actually setting up our media library. So we're gonna go movies, it's here, we're gonna add a folder, and that folder is going to be /data/movies. And once we can see here, we can add a shared network folder like SMB, NFS, what have you, but we're just gonna do a local one for now because this beast is our all-in-one. We can do everything on it. Now, once we have that, you can see here the scroll bar is pretty long, so there are quite a few options. And now, we have our metadata language here, English, certification, country. Now, all of these aren't necessary. It's just if you want to actually go and set all these up, and if you have specific uses for them, you definitely can. So let's actually go Canada and preferred image download language. So we'll just go through a few of these here. We won't go through every single one. Automatic grouping, metadata readers, so movie metadata downloader, so enable and rank your preferred metadata downloaders. So we'll leave that as the default here. We can set up collections, do our metadata savers, and then the image fetchers. So we have the TV DB, the movie DB, fan art, open movie database, and image capture. And then we have chapters, subtitle downloaders, let's see, some security stuff, and then our playback here. But let's just go ahead and do OK here. We have our movies. We'll do next. Configure remote access. So if you're familiar with Plex at all, it's the same thing. It's very straightforward. Just click of a button, you're good to go. But won't do that for the moment here, just because we are in the studio. But then you just have to accept the terms of use, and then we're done. So let's see, scanning your media library, check out some of our apps. That's another thing. There are a slew of things that Emby will run on, very similar to Plex. It's pretty much just on about everything, but we'll finish this up. We'll do a manual login, and hopefully I didn't mistype my password, because then we're going to have to do this again. So fingers crossed. Beauty. All right, so we are in here, and let's take a look at our movies, and still loading there, but let's take a look here. Now, not my choice to have a, well, I mean, it was my choice, but I needed to get some video very quickly, and quickest place where we actually have some videos ready to go are our home lab videos. So I had a shortcut there, just copied all of our home lab videos to this. So as you can see here, there are quite a few things that I have here that are have my own face on them. I promise I'm not that vain, but that's just me saying that. So let's actually go in and see what we have here. So it picked up our names themselves. So obviously it's not going to be able to pick up the artwork for some internal videos. The name's another thing. So it has picked up a few things here. Let's see. HL16, second short, the render, funny enough. So that's the other thing. So obviously when you're video editing, things like that, you're gonna have files that are called rendered, render, things like that. I guess there's a movie called Render where it picked it up as that. But let's actually go to click on some of our videos here and let's see. So very simple, very similar to how Plex and other media servers do their whole thing. Playback speeds, closed captioning, etc. We have our settings here. Now, one thing that I really did like about Emby is going to the actual settings here. I know this is so fascinating. You're talking about a media server and you're talking about your favorite part being the settings, but just bear with me. So when we go in here, we actually have this very verbose, very well laid out sort of sidebar here. And I will say, I do like it a lot more than Plex. I wish they kind of had theirs set up like this. I find it's a little more cumbersome, but this one, fantastic. So everything's laid out perfectly easy here. So I was just checking out a few things with it. So we can set up our LAN networks, change our ports if need be, set up some scheduled tasks, cinema intros, which was something kind of neat. I believe that is in Emby Premium, but it looks like it lets us do it here, which will play trailers beforehand, before your movie or TV show, to give you kind of that cinema experience. I'm far too much of an impatient person to sit through trailers willingly. Some people might like that, not my thing. But then we have our devices here, everything that is connected, plugins. So we do have a couple here that are here by default, but let's go to the catalog here and see what we have. So we have live TV, metadata, notifications, reporting. So this was an interesting one here that I was looking at before, where we can get a view of storage on our actual shares themselves. And then the other one, I mentioned gaming before, which I read about that and I was like, huh, that's pretty interesting. I did not think about that at all. As you can see here, we have our game browser, and let's let that load. Game Browser 3 allows you to browse your game library with several Emby clients, even launch games using supported front ends. So we'll install that, got it. And then let's actually go to our home page here. Then we'll take a look at things. So that'll take just a moment there. Okay, so now that we have that installed, we'll actually need to do a restart of the Emby service here. So again, super easy to do. We will go to our actual user here, manage our Emby server, and then we have our option here to restart. There we go. And please wait while the Emby server shuts down, restart. So you can see that was super quick. All right, so now here that we have our game browser, we can see it here in the settings. So we'll add here, so game system. Oh, okay, so it's kind of like an emulator system. So let's see, Commodore 64, Nintendo 3DS, PlayStation 4. Interesting, okay. Well, I am not gonna click anything Nintendo related here because I don't want that wrath of lawyers on top of me, but we will take a look at a few other things here. So we have our actual log files here. So if we need to check anything goes wrong with the server, anything's slow, our transcoding options, we have those here. Let's see, take a look at our library. So we can scan for extra library files or add a new library in itself. So overall, between the open and paid features of Plex and Emby, they're very comparable. In the next video, I'll be going over installation features and how Jellyfin compares to both Plex and Emby more in depth. So that's Emby in a nutshell. It's the middle ground between open source freedom and commercial convenience. So do you use Emby? What do you like about it? Anything keeping you from switching to, or from anything else I should say? Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more Home Lab deep dives. If you want to see everything that we've got on offer, check out store.45homelab.com and our socials down below. And one more thing that I'll mention. If you find yourself at TwitchCon in San Diego, October 17th to 19th, come check out the 45 Home Lab booth. You'll see our products in person, including the HL15 Beast in all its glory. I'm Zack Perry with 45 Home Lab. See you in the next one. All right, that's it. I'm done.